He seized the throne in blood, he ruled in fear, and he fell in disgrace. Tarquinius Superbus, Rome's last king, was a man whose ambition burned brighter than any law, any oath, or any tradition. In his hands, the crown of Rome became a weapon, but his tyranny would light the fuse of revolution. This is the story of the king who killed the republic into being, the fall of Rome's monarchy, and the tyrant who made it inevitable. Tarquinius Superbus, or Tarquin the Proud, was not born to be king. He was the son of the former king Tarquinius Priscus, and the ambitious Tanaquil, and the brother-in-law of Servius Tullius, Rome's sixth king. But pride and bloodlust would not let him remain in the shadows. Where Servius Tullius had ruled by consensus, Tarquin saw weakness, and so, in a coup orchestrated with his wife Tullia, the daughter of Servius, Tarquin staged one of the most brutal takeovers in Roman history. One day Servius entered the Senate only to be thrown down the steps by Tarquin himself. Then in the streets, the king was hunted down and murdered, by Tarquin's men, or some say, at the command of his own daughter. The body of Servius Tullius was left in the open like refuse, while Tarquin rode into power. It was a palace revolution drenched in blood, but the people did nothing. Shock and fear ruled, and Tarquin took the throne not by right, but by terror. Tarquinius Superbus was not just a usurper, he was the most authoritarian king Rome had yet known. He refused to seek Senate approval for decisions and ruled by decree. Trials were abolished, dissenters exiled or executed without hearing. The king surrounded himself with spies and informants. His regime operated on one principle: obedience through fear. Yet despite his tyranny, Tarquin achieved much. He forged alliances across Latium, strengthening Rome's influence. He launched campaigns against the Volsci and other neighbors, bringing plunder and slaves into the city. And in a masterstroke of diplomacy, he gave his daughter in marriage to Octavius Mamilius of Tusculum, a powerful Latin prince. Through blood and politics, Tarquin turned enemies into subjects. At home he commissioned great works: the Temple of Jupiter, Optimus Maximus on the Capitoline Hill, and the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's great sewer system. These were symbols of power, ambition, and divine favor, but none of it could cleanse the rot at the heart of his rule. Tarquinius's greatest mistake was to forget the will of the Roman people. As his power grew, so did resentment. The Senate, once a force of balance, was sidelined and cowed. Noble families whispered of revolution, and the people remembered Servius, the murdered king who once gave them land and voice. Then came the final spark. During the siege of Ardea, Tarquin's son, Sextus Tarquinius, visited the home of a nobleman named Collatinus. There he encountered Lucretia, Collatinus's wife, renowned for her beauty and virtue. Sextus, inflamed with lust and entitlement, returned later under the cover of night. He forced his way into her room, threatened her with shame and death, and raped her. Lucretia, shattered and dishonored, summoned her husband and kin. She told them everything, and then took her own life, plunging a knife into her heart. Rome exploded. Lucius Junius Brutus, Collatinus, and other nobles carried Lucretia's body into the forum. There, before a stunned crowd, Brutus swore an oath: no more kings, ever. With Brutus as their leader, the Romans rose. The people, outraged by Tarquin's despotism and his son's crime, turned against the crown. The Senate moved quickly, voting to abolish the monarchy. The army, weary of the king's arrogance, sided with the rebellion. Tarquinius, away at Ardea, attempted to return, but the gates of Rome were closed to him. He and his family were exiled. Attempts to reclaim the throne failed. A plot by Roman nobles, the Tarquinians, was discovered and crushed. Even the king's final attempt, aided by the Etruscans, was defeated at the Battle of Silva Arsia. His sons were captured or killed, his allies scattered. Tarquinius Superbus died in exile in Cumae, the last king of Rome, unwelcome in the city he once ruled. Tarquinius Superbus became the Roman symbol of tyranny. His name, Superbus, the Proud, was spoken with venom for centuries. His fall marked the end of monarchy in Rome and the birth of the Republic. Rome's founders swore never again would a single man hold kingly power. The office of Rex was cursed. Even emperors centuries later avoided the title. The story of Tarquin became a civic myth, taught in schools, carved into histories, retold by Livy, Dionysius, and Cicero. Yet even in disgrace, his legacy endured. The Temple of Jupiter he commissioned stood as Rome's spiritual heart for centuries. the Cloaca Maxima still flows beneath the eternal city. His reign, cruel, brilliant, and ultimately doomed, was the final chapter of Rome's monarchy and the prologue to its republic. He ruled without mercy, he fell without honor, and he gave Rome its greatest gift, freedom through his fall. Tarquinius Superbus, last of the kings, first of the tyrants, the blood crown will never forget. If you found this dark chapter of Rome's past compelling, subscribe to Pathways to Destruction, where we uncover the rulers, revolts, and ruins that shaped empires. Comment below, did Tarquinius destroy Rome's monarchy, or did he force it to evolve?